Alan Martofel is the CEO of Feminist Apparel, a t-shirt company run out of a New Jersey strip mall. Wait, so you're actually creating the stock here? So someone orders something, you print it out, and then you send it out?
Yeah, that's how we're able to offer so many designs on the website and like speak to so many different topics.
After Donald Trump's election, a number of Feminist Apparel's campaigns and products went viral, and its shirts were a common sight at women's marches. It was a hashtag resistance success story, with a growing staff and 360,000 social media followers. But this past July, Feminist Apparel became the focus of a global internet shitstorm when Alan fired all but one of his employees. I mean, look, it's a perfect headline. You were a sexual abuser, your employees found out about it, and you fired them for finding out about it. And it makes you look like a complete asshole.
Yeah.
It all started 5 years ago when Alan wrote a Facebook post admitting to having, quote, grinded up on women on buses and at concerts without their consent, and once, quote, putting a woman's hand on my dick while she was sleeping. He cataloged his sins, apologized, and declared the creation of Feminist Apparel, his, quote, humble attempt at penance. The post was public and has since been deleted, but his employees had no idea, and when they discovered it, they were furious. You decided to go and confront him about this. What happened next?
We started with points like how inappropriate it is for a sexual assailant to be profiting off of victims of sexual assault and profiting off of people who didn't know that they were giving money to a sexual assailant. And it felt like he had deceived us all.
I felt like I helped this horrible person make so much money and
You think he's a horrible person?
Oh yeah, definitely.
His response was, I see that I've become a liability to the company, and I agree that I should step down. I'm going to look into the next steps for how to extricate myself from the company.
I mean, did you imagine that he was going to step down and then just kind of hand over all the property and all the books and all the profits to you guys?
I very naively did think that. It would be the feminist thing to do, and if he was actually a feminist...
The feminist thing to do
then,
would be to give everything to you.
Would be to give the company to the marginalized identities that were doing the most good with it. We just wanted him to cut all ties with the company.
Alan had other ideas. Feminist Apparel would remain in business, but in an email to staff, he informed 9 of his 10 employees that they had been fired.
Kind of when I had more time to sit with all of this, I came to that realization of like, these aren't my employees coming out saying that I did anything. This is me when I was in college.
So tell me about what that note was.
It was important for me to do a self-audit. Where have I fallen short?
It was pointed out that you rubbed up against people on buses, at concerts. That was the one that kind of struck me as like, okay, explain that to me.
I don't care to say anything to justify it. Like in all situations, there should be a verbal invitation, a verbal initiation, and there needs to be a verbal acceptance. So,
were you a bad guy?
In those situations that I write about, sure.
In the past?
Yeah.
You initially said in that post, this is the reason for starting this company. So you didn't tell Forbes that in 2014. You told me you started the company because you were doing a documentary and you were awoken by these politics. You didn't mention any of that other stuff. It seems like a shifting story. Because what the cynic in me and the cynic in your employees is that this company started going the right way, and you said, "Yeah, you know, this is probably bad for the company, and I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna delete that note. I wish I hadn't done that."
I think certainly at a certain point,
right? I mean,
this note came out and it was talked about, like it was addressed, and like this is public knowledge. I didn't feel the need to, with every sale, say, "Hey, by the way."
Feminist Apparel's ex-employees say that the truth about the company's founding is only part of their problem with Alan.
This is something that we talked a lot about in the office, about what it meant to be for profit, what it meant that Alan made more money than us. In a perfect world, we would be paid equally, and it would be understood that our personal experiences as marginalized people brought things to the table that Alan could never bring because he never had those experiences.
You think you should be paid the same as the CEO?
Yes.
You guys too?
I think that if the CEO wants to make more money, the CEO needs to be held accountable for the amount of work he's doing.
We did have like open, transparent books. Like we got to the point within the past year where it's like the reason people knew what I was making was because I was like, here's what I'm making.
This is a guy who makes 60 grand a year and now lives with his parents. doesn't sound very sort of high on the hog privilege to me. I think that's what most people would probably think, right? Am I
Being
wrong?
able to live with your parents while you are making $60,000 a year and you don't have to pay for rent, you don't
Also,
have to pay for utilities.
To buy a house.
I
He
think
wanted to buy a house.
He wanted to
could
buy
save
a
money to
house.
buy a house.
So that is
I don't
privilege.
understand. Who cares? The guy's trying to do good, right? He's trying to, like, you know, hire people of color, trying to hire marginalized people, you know, trying to hire trans people.
Yeah.
Why are you beating this guy up?
Any degree of sexual assault is unforgivable. I mean, at that point.
So he
like,
can't be forgiven.
What I should say is it's unacceptable. The best way for him to have atoned for what he did would be to put the money for starting that business into other businesses that already existed that were run by women, were run by survivors of sexual assault.
You could have just done something else because this is not your place. This is just not your place.
Should you be forgiven?
People want to feel as though the person actually gets why their actions were wrong. I have dealt with mine both privately and then maybe not as much as I should have publicly, but I'm not Louis C.K. I'm like, I run a small business in South Jersey. Like,
You don't regret writing it.
no,
But I don't think you'd write that in 2018.
no.